Podcasting
is in danger of growing stale. I'm taking it to strange new places.
It was worse than the Chinese food I ate, which I already had diarrhea twice from.
Everybody's telling us to stop doing what we're trying to do.
Okay. It's Inane Blather. Episode 121, I think. Should be. It's
number 120, maybe. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think our episodes got thrown off a little bit when we did our post-election special, because I just kept doing episode numbers, and you did an election special.
Special epi.
But, you know, either way, all of these episodes are purely for...
head bonked individuals.
That took a second for
yeah,
some reason.
That's got a delay, I think.
I don't know why. They're for head bonked individuals, and they always exemplify the fact that
the left maximizes evil,
and we're here for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because
I love Karl Marx.
Nice.
But yeah, it's Inane Blather. Gather round, children.
Blather and gather.
Gather around, adults, ladies, gentlemen, NBs.
Anybody else who wants to be included? Yeah.
Therians or whatever, animal people, whatever you might
no,
be.
No thanks.
I guess you wouldn't say
I'm just
animal
kidding.
people, because then you would just be
That's
animals.
kind of an
right?
oxymoron.
I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though people are animals. So.
But, and become one with the collective, become one of the many.
Headstrong, stubborn, quibbling, self-centered, vindictive, obnoxious, hormonal, sexually preoccupied, evil, thieving, cross-dressing jerks.
And you know, I know it's not that great, but I posted on Blue Sky and I got no traction. And I was just thinking, I just said, you know, this seasonal depression, it's got me feeling like I've been demoted to Lexa Amateur instead of Lexa Pro. Got nothing. Boo.
Yeah.
Big boo out of that one.
You
From
wish you
Lexa
could have
Pro
even gotten that.
to Lexa Amateur.
Amateur.
Well, that's what seasonal depression does to you, I guess. Is it also
makes you not
makes
funny.
you, you know, less funny than usual.
He died, and when baboons kidnapped and ate him.
And that's the way that you kind of want to go at the end of it. Thanksgiving's coming up. You know, did you hear that Jesse Waters, you know, the guy from Fox News,
I hate that guy.
his mom uninvited him from Thanksgiving?
Fuck yeah. I bet Bill Maher
I
hated
think he
that.
even complained about it on TV or something, but that's been going around. What a dope.
Bill
That
Maher
guy
had a
is like-
whole bit.
He's got like a dog brain.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah, Bill Maher, Jesus criminy. That, like, I don't know, he makes me even more mad than the Fox News people nowadays. And he's made me mad for a long time. I hate Bill Maher. I hate that guy. But, good golly molly. It used to be just like, all right, you know, and I used to watch him all the time because it was like, well, he can have some interesting people on. Some of it's just good background. You can get some news, and I'm a sucker for one-liners, no matter what. So I liked watching New Rules because you can get some real groaners, and every once in a while I'll be like, that was good. I like a one-liner, you know? So he just has these old school joke writers in there, and every once in a while I'm like, oh my God, Bill, that's funny. That's just a funny one-liner ripped from the headlines. It's like watching fucking Jay Leno or something, you know? So I'd watch it every week. I mean, I could barely get through his monologue sometimes, though. That's pure groans. Every time. And it's like, and for him to complain, I mean, about anything, but for him to complain about cancel culture or this or that or anything about the how soft everyone is these days. It's like, motherfucker, you used the hard R N-word in your monologue less than 10 years ago, and you still have the same fucking show. Like, you live on the lot where your studio is. You don't even go outside. You don't know anything that's going on in the world. You literally don't understand how life works. You don't get to talk about, like, just day-to-day reality for Americans. You don't have a family. You don't go to the supermarket. You don't do any of these things. You drink and smoke with celebrity friends. You have people write your jokes. You don't understand. You're gonna talk to Neil deGrasse Tyson about why the Democrats lost the election. Fuck you, Bill. You don't know anything. You don't know anything about why the Democrats lost the election. You don't know why, and you wouldn't know why the Democrats won an election if they ever did. Ugh, can't stand him. Smarmy, arrogant.
He's so smug.
Moron.
He's so smug. That's the thing about, that was on R.M. Brown where he's talking to Neil deGrasse Tyson about, like, literally he read the headline from Scientific American, and then he's just like
getting saw it on Twitter.
He's just getting so like worked up about it, and just like so incredibly arrogant about it, like that he just knows what's best. He's like, I don't know. I used to like Bill Maher, like New Rule. I never watched his whole show before. I would just watch the New Rule, or whatever it is, but now it's cringe because not only, of course, like his politics, and I think he's just like, yeah, exactly, like so incredibly out of touch, but his audience is cringe. He gets so many applause breaks. It's like,
it's so annoying.
Yeah.
Even a decade ago, watching it was like, geez, calm down, people. Good Lord.
I know, like standing ovation.
It's like
practically.
Jerry
It's like,
Springer. It's like crazy. They might as well be going, Bill, 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 Bill. It's like, good God. I don't know what they do to these people, if they like pay them to be there or what. I don't know how you get into that audience, but it's insane. They're rabid. And they're just waiting. Like, you can hear it sometimes. It's like people. It reminds me of Dad. Remember? I don't know if you were there. I remember sitting with him at a recital, and he'd be like, "Man, I'm gonna be the first." He's like, he'd wait, and he'd be like, "I'm gonna be the first clapper."
Yeah.
And he'd wait because he's like, you got to time right, because when the piano piece is ending at the recital, you got to jump in and you want to be the first clap to get the applause started, but you don't want to clap too early because sometimes there's another movement starting,
And that's so embarrassing.
And then, yes, you don't want to be that guy, and you don't want to clap too early. And at one point, he's like, yeah, I got it. I started that one. And then he realized, he's like, I think Kirk over there, you see Kirk's here? He beat me. He got the first first clap in. Yeah, and he's like, he'd be looking over, he's like, God dang it. He's trying to get the first clap. And you could hear it in Bill Maher's audience. People are like jumping the gun. They're like, Hut! Yeah, and even
that
Bill
like
will like look at it, he's like, good Lord. He's like, calm down. He's like telling him, he's like, whoa.
I know this
I didn't even
that
say
funny.
anything yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that funny. Calm down.
There's no way that made you feel that way.
Yeah. Are you even listening to me?
Yeah, exactly.
I can't stand. He's worse than some Republicans on some things. He's so reactionary, and it's like it's one of those few cases where it's like he's like, well, the left me. They're all so crazy. It's like, yeah, I mean, progressivism is about progress, Bill. And just because you were all about smoking weed and you thought it was okay to be gay 20 years ago, it's like, sure. So you thought it was so radical 20 years ago that you were against religion, and that you thought smoking weed was cool and it should be legal. Now, you're just an old man who still thinks that. Everyone else thinks that, and we've all moved on. We're still trying to make the world a better place because we're progressive. There are other issues that need to be tackled, and you're just being a crotchety old man who's stuck in his ways and is a very wealthy white man living in Hollywood. Get out of here. No one cares. No one cares what you have to say about anything else. Like, what do you need? No one gives a shit, Bill. Like, you are not marginalized in any way whatsoever. How about you think about what other people need? Because he just doesn't. He hasn't thought about what other people need in any way whatsoever for years and years and years. Like, that's one thing that really gets me about him. He just doesn't think about the needs of the needy. He's a real, true, like, kind of
elitist,
lived up elitist Democrat like that. He's the type of Democrat that the Republicans have been putting into people's heads for years at this point. That's what they think of when they think of coastal elite Democrat. They think of a smug asshole like Bill Maher. That's the type of person that a lot of like Gen Xers and younger boomers think of. That suburbia types. They think of a fucking asshole like that guy. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Really go off the rails with that.
What was that's funny that kind of got brought up though, because one of the things I wanted to talk about had to do with one of our favorite liberal coastal elites, Nancy Pelosi, because I was just thinking about, because I watched something about it, trading stocks and politicians and these rich people.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch that. You sent that to me.
I've been watching that guy. He's great. I like him. I think it's Good News or Good. No, it's like Good Time.
Good Nay.
What?
Good Nay.
No, it's definitely not that. No, he's a YouTube
horse
channel.
News.
He's like, he is like a reporter. He just is like really straight faced, good looking white guy. But he's funny and, it's like informative. And just, he was talking about politicians.
Good works.
Yeah, good works. Is that what it is?
Okay. That's what I see on here.
Oh,
yeah, good
yeah.
Good work. Good work.
Good work. Yeah. _ He was talking about politicians trading stocks and how talk about a uniting issue. It's like 86% of Americans, believe that shouldn't be able to trade stocks, and it's like 87% Democrats and 86% of Republicans.
Yeah.
It's like there is no.
It's completely sensible.
There's no. It shows like a few of them.
It seems like out and out corruption. Like, of course they shouldn't.
That's
be
the
able to
name
do
of that video, or like corruption. It's like in the thumbnail or whatever. But it's like he pointed out 4 of them that are on the same page about this: Elizabeth Warren, Matt Gaetz, AOC, and Josh Hawley all agree on this issue.
Yeah.
So
sure.
That's what you need to know. And he talks to 3 politicians, John Ossoff from Georgia, then this fucking right-wing guy that's like, oh, there's a thing at the border. But then he starts talking about this stock trading. He's like totally reasonable, like this is something we shouldn't be doing. You need to divest. You need to have it in a blind trust. He talks to 2 other people too. And it just went through some of the numbers too of how politicians, how they beat the market, like by like 13 points on average, while the average American is under 1.2 points. Like they're really, it's like, man, you really got to be good. She and her husband, and like truly, I mean, like weeks ahead of some regulation that's coming in, or right before COVID, a lot of these guys, I mean, they're selling like 30,000 shares of these things, like Nancy Pelosi's husband sold 30,000 shares of Google stock or whatever right before something happened. It was
doesn't he like own the New York Stock Exchange or something weird like
whatever.
that?
He has some job like that. That's what they're like. Some of these bills that have been introduced by some of this legislation that's been proposed is not just lawmakers, but their families as well. Can't be doing that because it's just such an obvious conflict of interest. And it gets
Yeah.
brought up in that where one of the lawmakers is like, back in the 90s, it just used to be essentially legal for these lawmakers to participate in insider trading. And the guy who does his channel, he's like, what a time that must have been. You know, you could just like literally do insider trading as
Yeah.
a congressperson. Like, it just was it just really stuck with me. It's like something you know
Well, I guess
about,
it's
of
just
course.
venture capital. I don't know. There was something about an actual stock exchange or something. I remember reading about that. Maybe that wasn't Pelosi. I don't know. But, he was the one that got assaulted with a hammer. That's what I was
That
thinking
guy
of.
got life in prison, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Sheesh.
That's what I was like, what the fuck? That seems, I mean, don't do that, obviously, but like life in prison, save some for the double rape murderers or whatever, you know? The double rape twins. It just seemed really, that was just like, was a couple weeks ago or something. But
Wow. Yeah. Huh. Press release from the Northern District of California. Anyway, ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Yeah. So, well, I want to watch that. But yeah, what's the plan to like get something like that through though?
that's what
how do
they talk
they-
about that you need, one of the lawmakers was saying, well, it could probably pass the House. You could have the votes for it,
Mhm.
but a 60-vote Senate is pretty much impossible. There are a lot of, they talk about that, it's like, you know, there are a lot of people that behind closed doors would be very much against this. They don't want it to happen. You know, there are only so many people in Congress that would want this to pass. So it's like, is it going to happen anytime soon? There's like proposed legislation. One of them was by
Bullshit.
a Democrat,
I get these
co-signed
Congress
by a
people
Republican.
get on their constituents to make some noise and make their senators say it, not behind closed doors. Get them
I
to
feel
come
like-
out on TV and say, you have to say, no, I don't think something like this should pass. At least have your bullshit excuse why you think it's not a good idea. Say maybe it's about personal liberty.
It's about
or
free
whatever
market,
it might be.
says Nancy
Yeah,
Pelosi.
free markets or something like that. At least have your excuse or whatever, and you better say it with your chest. I want to hear it because, like, that's bullshit.
It just
Like,
seems
you gotta say it, and on top of that, I don't know how long. If the I wonder. Gosh, shows how well versed I am right now, just with my brain breaking after the fucking Trump win and all that stuff. How much of a majority do they have in the Senate right now? Are they going to be able to just get rid of the filibuster anyway? Are they going to need 60 throughout the whole
think
thing
you
if they
need-
wanted to?
Yeah, I think that's what Umberto and I were just saying. It's like, man, what a double-edged
Are they gonna
sword
start
that
ramming
60
things
votes
through?
is. Yeah.
Like the Democrats
not.
wouldn't? Why they
Yeah.
just fucking shot themselves in the foot for 4 years and didn't do shit? Because of people like Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema?
Yeah, she's not a Democrat.
anymore.
Anymore. Yeah.
She's just
Yeah.
a dumb bitch. She's SDB.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I think that like with the
Hey, Kristen Sinema?
Go kill yourself.
I think with the insider trading sort of thing.
And censored from YouTube.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
That was Dr. Phil, not me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, cancel him. I think it's just not that pressing of like an issue like to really rally people around, but like one of the
No.
lawmakers was
But I
saying
mean,
that
they could do it for something else.
I
Let's
know.
say for a border bill, they get rid of the filibuster. They go nuclear option so that they can get some crazy border bill passed. So they go for simple majority. then they can start passing other shit. And then so Congress gets through something like that, where it's like, hey, we want to get this thing with wild popular support passed where you can't trade stocks. And then they can eke out a 51 vote thing in the Senate, maybe. You can, and like, you could say whatever you want about Republican-controlled governments and how shitty they are, but every once in a while they actually get things done, things that they want, which sucks.
Yeah,
but they can when it's like
imagine-
tax cuts and things like that. They can do it.
I can't imagine
So, who
the
knows?
party that is, sucking the dick of the and getting fisted by the hand of the free market is gonna do anything about to stop their rights. Because like straight up Nancy Pelosi, like it's in that video, like a quote, her being like, this is free market, we have like the opportunity to do that.
Oh yeah,
and all that.
She's worth $118 million because
the
of
thing
this.
I learned from it too, it's like it's pretty much even. It's both. It's not more necessarily Republicans than Democrats. It's both of them doing it a lot.
But maybe that's why you could eke it out. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
If only it had turned out, it had been a unique enough win because of that whole populist rise with Trump. But the problem is the Democrats did such a bad job that they didn't even get that across the country. Like with such low turnout everywhere, you didn't even get like weird upset wins, like with where even right-wing populists or something, which can be pretty bad, but still you have these weird edge cases where it's like, yeah, they still end up being pro-labor and stuff, but they're still nut jobs, You get these populists that are like, yeah, but the rich are still screwing you over, and the immigrants, or, stuff like that, where even like Trump right now, like labor secretary or someone in there, or as NLRB or labor secretary, something like that, is actually like, oh, it's actually like semi-pro-union, things like that slip through the cracks because of like this facade of populism kind of can sometimes lead to things that actually support the working class, even though it's usually a facade. When it all crumbles down into this just neocon bullshit, and you just get George W. Bush politics, then yeah, it helps no one except the rich, But it's like, if only it wasn't just the Democrats running the neocon bullshit. If only it wasn't the Democrats running the George W. Bush party in 2024 for some reason, then maybe some of that would have been, kind of some topsy-turvy stuff turning up. We'd have some weird Senate upsets, some governors here and there where it's like, well, the Democrats lost here and there, but even these Republicans, that upset the Democrats, even some of these Senate losses are weirdos that you can work with, or people that...
Weirdos we can work with.
Yeah, but for real, yeah, guys that are like, yeah, but, I want to stand up to big business or something, or I want big pharma out of this, or I think that, you shouldn't be able to trade stocks, little things like that, stuff like that could have happened, but it's not looking promising, like you're saying. It's just going to be business as usual, plus, full-blown fascism and concentration camps.
Yeah.
For immigrants. It's going to be great.
What a great time.
Having to explain that to my 10-year-old this morning when she was asking about it, because they're talking about the mass deportation plans on NPR this morning. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I hope it doesn't come to that. I said, because, I try to keep it real with my kid. I don't understand why parents want to dumb things down so much for their children.
Because they're white and they're not going to ever have to worry about being deported. Like all these little brown kids actually have to live their lives like with this horror hanging over their
just
heads.
In general.
Their actual real
don't
fucking
talk politics with them. Why not? What? It's the world. What are you talking about? It's like, you want your kid to be stupid? Why? I don't get it. And so of course my child, who is intelligent and empathetic and kind, doesn't like Donald Trump, which sucks because she's surrounded by dumbass little kids who do because their parents do. but yeah, and so I forget, we're just kind of talking about it and kind of coming down to, well, we can just hope, we had Donald Trump before. We can just hope that he just doesn't do a good job, right? He doesn't do a good job of doing what he's doing, because otherwise, I said, what he wants to do is pretty bad, because he wants to round up all of the immigrants and deport them all at the same time and use the military. He'll have to put them in camps and prisons and send them out. And even she was like, what? Even my 10-year-old, knows just from basic schooling that
Rounding
just
up
the
camps
idea
and prisons.
of rounding up people and putting them in camps and forcing them out of the country is horrifying, like a Holocaust level stuff. Like, because anyone with a brain should know that. Even a 10-year-old. They know this stuff. You're getting towards middle school, you start learning about these things. At least you should. If as long as they don't abolish the Department of Education like they're going to try to do under the Trump administration.
Give it a pile driver, I think, because
oh my god, yeah, that was one that was one where I saw the comment many times of just like, I had to double check this one and make sure it wasn't an Onion headline that Linda McMahon was nominated as the Secretary of Education. And that, folks, is why
democracy simply doesn't work.
I feel like, how come all these other jobs we have to have, like, they can require you to have, like, a bachelor's degree or a master's degree? Because I feel like, I'm like, okay, for the head of the Department of Education, you should have to have legit, at minimum, a master's in education. Like, you can't just come in because you have, like, business sense or some bullshit. You should have to have been an educator who is educated in educating. It's like incredibly, like, one of the fundamental things about that job is you're supposed to know about, like, the education system and, like, how that works. And, like, all of that would have been through experience. And you know how you become a fucking teacher is by getting a fucking degree. You have to have a fucking degree to be a teacher, and this stupid bitch is going to be in charge of our beautiful
and
little
by
children's...
wanting to educate people.
Because you want to be a teacher, or whatever, and you make sure your schools run well, so your kids are getting a good education because you care about children.
Yeah.
What
Education.
Are you? You're married to a WWE CEO or whatever the fuck Vince McMahon is. I don't even know. What is that even? What kind of
He's
qualifications
just a meme now.
Could you possibly have over some of these people who have genuinely dedicated their lives to such a good fucking cause? Great, people are doctors, all this kind of stuff. These people, they're like, you know what's so important is children. I really want to make sure that they're able to put their best foot forward in life. I love seeing them learn. I'm so, passionate about helping them, like, grow into these fully conscious, like, adults that can be, like, happy and healthy. There's people who, like, that's what their life has been. That's what they do. They have, like, there's some really smart, competent, capable, caring, cool people out there that would be so much more deserving. And it's such, like, it could be like, if he did, like, if it was like a teacher, it would still be like, okay, that's weird, just like a high school teacher or whatever. But, like, this bitch is, like, nothing. Like, what? She's just, like, such a weird pick.
She's just someone who donated a bunch of shit to
the head
Trump
of the
campaign.
Department of Education. It's like, do you guys know what this means? Do you know what these positions mean? That's not like being a CEO, which is not shit. These are very important jobs.
And also, the whole, like, being a CEO, I can almost see, like, with running a department, being an executive, it's managing people, but at the same time, it goes back to that whole, like, oh, you got to run it like a business. And I saw it just today or on Blue Sky or something. It's like, you got to run the government like a business. And it's like, okay, let's also drive my bicycle like a car and play my guitar like a piano. It's like the government's not a business.
And it's not.
Like,
it's
why?
Like a CEO, it's like you can have like good marketing kind of sense or those kinds of things. It's like it's a bullshit job. Elon Musk is the CEO of 3 companies. He doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and he spends all day on Twitter.
Yeah, or
It's like,
following
what are you
Donald
talking
Trump
about?
around Mar-a-Lago or whatever. But it's like, yeah, it's not anything like a
you
business.
Did you see the on like the latest Seth Meyers A Closer Look? I thought it was so funny when because there was that comment going around about Trump, and then the people in the transition team, like, they're getting sick of Elon Musk being around. He's kind of stepping on everyone's toes, and even Trump saying like, I can't get rid of this guy. And and Seth Meyers' comment I thought was so funny. Him saying, he's like, I can't believe it. I'm so happy. Trump has found his own Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. And he says, he's like, everywhere I turn, I can't get rid of this guy. I don't know what to do. And it's like this guy who has way more money than him. Mm-hmm. He can't get rid of him. Oh, he said something. Gosh, I was trying to remember it for exactly this show. It was really fun. I recommend it. That's the lib that I like to watch.
I love
Seth Meyers, especially all of his Trump stuff. I still don't get tired of it. It's been years and years. People say they're sick of it. It's played out. Still like it.
Seth Meyers is awesome, and he's
hilarious.
not like super. I mean, like, you know,
And post-election, I like that he called out Democrats and the stupid establishment media. He didn't go as far as he could or should have, but still, I was pretty happy with it. Calling out MSNBC types, being like, yeah, he's like, come on. Woke people, trans people aren't why you lost the election. You lost by 15 million votes. You lost 15 million votes compared to last time. He's like, you're going to have to do some more introspection than that. I was like, oh, thank God. Thank you, Seth. I was literally going to stop watching you if you told like what all these other CNN and MSNBC hacks have been saying the past couple days. I was like, it would literally ruin my opinion of your comedy. I was so upset. But yeah, I like
he's
him.
Awesome. He has like
he's one of the good Gen Xers.
He talks about like, I mean, like capitalism and like corporate greed and stuff like that. He's like very open about those things. I think he has like, the most leftist sort of perspective from like a mainstream. It's like, because he's on NBC.
Mainstream.
Yeah,
type.
Like he's very like, this is like a very legitimate media outlet
very
that has
big
like
corporate outlet,
huge that's like, you know, been around a long time, blah 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 blah. But he has some really cutting things to say often. I would say I love Seth Meyers, and I love his Rudy Giuliani impression. Humby does not like it, but what I tell Humby, Seth Meyers is great because he gives inspiration to people like Umberto that are funny, but they're really bad at impressions. So I'm like, see, you can still be funny and be good at
best Trump impression.
And
it's so far off.
I know, exactly.
It's so far off. It's so hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But him and John Oliver. John Oliver's further to the left.
John Oliver, but he's on HBO.
Yeah,
that's
he's still
different.
liberal.
But
But
so
but I mean, in terms of, he's still mainstream.
He's not. You can't lump those guys in with liberals, though. You can't, because liberals are fucking. They wouldn't say crap like that. They'd be like, "Oh, the Democrats lost because of misogyny and racism."
Yeah. No, the Democrats lost because of all of you Gaza protesters. Literally, they're like, "See, this is what you guys get." Straight up,
you know
it's disgusting.
And what is that?
No self-reflection after this election. And
hey, that's the slogan. No self-reflection after this election. Their solution, you know, they're like, oh, all of these white people, all these white women still voted for Donald Trump in his third election. Well, you know the solution?
We should just start killing women.
I guess that's what we got to do. Linda McMahon gets nominated for Secretary of Education.
We should just start killing women.
Nice.
Some people are some Democrats are so-called pro-life.
We should just start killing women.
It's like, that'll get votes. No, you don't know how to get votes. You just lost the election. Shut up. We shouldn't listen to you. You were in charge of all this. You lost terribly. Joe Biden's the one at fault here, honestly. But
I feel like
and then I saw today. Oh my God, it made me sick. Made me sick. It's like, what are these conversations even about? Where they're like, you know what? What if actually? Gosh, I kept thinking, what if Obama had held off and it had been Hillary instead? Hillary could have been from 08 to 16 and then Obama, and we wouldn't have had this Biden thing. Hillary would have fit the bill better from then. I'm like, what is the point of this conversation? This is the stupidest bullshit I've ever read in my entire life. Why are you guys talking about this? This is even worse than the conversations of like, how would LeBron James fare in 1981, against the Showtime Lakers? That's actually a fun conversation, at least. And it's like, but it's pure hypothetical. And
it doesn't fucking matter like politics do. No offense to basketball, but it's like, you're trying to learn a fucking lesson. This is not the way to go about it, because that's like not helpful, because it's like not actual self-reflection. That's just a fantasy that you're having.
Yes.
It
didn't happen.
Yeah. And there's literally
so
no
who
way
cares?
to say, you know what? A lot of the reason Donald Trump got elected was because of backlash. We all know, because we had a black president, that was a factor in not just because she's a woman, not just because she sucked and all this kind of stuff. So what are you saying? Who's to say Hillary wouldn't have run and people would be like, fuck this bitch? This is like however many years ago this was now, 14 years ago. Things have, this is like pre-Me Too movement and all this kind of stuff. Like you're gonna and then you're just like literally just having a fantasy of, well, if we would have done this, if we would have elected this, then for sure Barack Obama would have been elected next, and for sure this would have happened, and for sure this was like, you don't even. It's literally impossible to say that. You can't compare stats. These
people won't talk about what happened. Talk about things that happened. It's like, you know what? That didn't happen. You know what did happen? Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, and everyone hated her, okay? She was still embroiled in the Benghazi scandals. No matter how bullshit they were, she was still wrapped up in scandals and in hearings for ungodly amounts of time, because they know how to keep her, like, just under a fucking political microscope, because she's an entrenched establishment Democrat monster, okay? Like, they still know how to do that to her. She's just a garbage political machine animal, okay? It's like, and like you're saying, backlash. It's like, yeah, Obama was president for 2 terms. And you know how Donald Trump really made his actual entry into national politics is with the birther movement. Yes, that's how you started hearing him on conservative talk radio constantly, and then onto national news constantly, talking about Obama's birth certificate. That's how he really did it. It wasn't from him running on the Constitution Party ticket or whatever it was in 2000. No one cared, It was like, I listened to Hannity all the time back then, just because it gave me something to scream at in the afternoon. It was really fun. But you'd hear, "Let freedom ring," coming back from commercial break. You're listening to the Sean Hannity Show. God, that guy sucks so much.
Oh, yeah.
I would listen to it until I couldn't take it anymore. But yeah, and you would hear Donald Trump call in and stuff like that, just going on and on about this bullshit. Even back, it was like 2000 and fucking, 9? It was like right after he was like elected already. This guy wasn't even born here.
I think it was his second term that stuff started ramping up.
Oh yeah, it really ramped up. But whenever it was immediate. The guy was black. They didn't like him, but it was like, talk about things that actually happened, please. Like, why even waste? I mean, you can talk about whatever you want. I'm not the police here, but don't act like this is legitimate political discussion, please. Like, don't make it. There's like young people who want to be politically active that are coming across this right now. There's impressionable minds coming across this here. Don't ruin this for them, please. Okay? Because this is horse shit. All right? Let's talk about things that happened. Let's talk about things that can happen. How about you talk about the future? You call yourself a fucking progressive? What are you going to do? Trump's going to be president, in just a couple months here. Like, we're going to be, dealing with mass deportations, including the use of the military, probably, because that the feckless Democrats aren't going to do anything, especially with that border bill that they were putting forward while Biden was president. It's like they'll probably like it, They'll just be like, they'll look at all of these poor, scared, horrified people being shipped away, some of them probably dying while it happens because nobody gives a fuck about them, and the disasters that are going to be going on, the scandals, if you can just only call them that, the inevitable scandals that would arise involving probably sexual assault, dead children, things like that. If even half of what Donald Trump wants to do is enacted in a mass deportation bill, and the Democrats will look at that and be like, see, progressives, see, leftists, this is what happens. You should have voted for Kamala. And, and I guess we'll just have to be the ones there that, I don't know, protest? What are you going to do? Because the Democrats aren't going to do anything. They're the ones that have any sort of institutional power in any way whatsoever. I mean, I don't know if you saw Jon Stewart's piece about just try to use at least some loophole. That was almost more frustrating than anything, that piece. Did you see that?
He's saying just play like the Republicans do?
Yeah.
That's what
that's
what we're saying. It's just like
the
they
Merrick
would do
Garland
it. So
thing.
The Matt Gaetz report. It's like, guys, the fuck. Who
just
cares?
Release it.
Just do
fuck
it.
Him.
Who cares?
Someone just leak it.
They're so
just do it.
That's what I was talking about.
What are you gonna do?
The other day was like, Democrats are so obsessed with these institutions that are going to save us. They're so perfect. And it's like, guys,
what have they done to save us so far?
They are built on a patriarchal, white supremacist, xenophobic. It's like, don't you guys fucking know this by now? Aren't you the party that knows this?
The institutions put Donald Trump into office twice.
Yeah. It's like, how could they ever possibly fail us? They're perfect. It's like, that's what they're so obsessed with it. It just is like it's like this, they're just bought into patriotism in just a different way. Like it comes out in a different way. Like they're just like America
just a
lovers.
Fucking beta cuck kind of patriotism that's really fucking embarrassing.
And it's really sad to hear that the Democrats, like online or whatever,
it's very cringe when you do that.
Are like that they're saying kind of like this is what you get, like that kind of attitude is out there, and it's like, guys, that's really gross. Like we didn't want whatever, if you're gonna blame leftists or whatever, it's like that's not what they wanted. And are you now gonna rub like these human rights horrors like in our faces because we did this on purpose or whatever? It's like just like a very mean spirited and like not helpful, not constructive in anyway sort of attitude to have with people who actually, the problem that we're all seeing, we actually agree that Donald Trump is a huge problem and like a threat to our democracy and like fascism and like right wing sort of stuff like on the rise and all this kind of stuff. We all agree on this. We didn't want this and it's okay that people didn't want Kamala either. I would, you can have like very strong opinions about, well, you should get out and vote and all this kind of stuff, but I don't think that it's very nice, very fair, and certainly not very helpful to rub it in people's faces that things are about to get very bad. Like, are you gonna who is that helping, and how does that make you better than me? How does that make you a better person than me? If there's some sort of purity test, I think you're fucking failing it right now.
How does it make you better than Donald Trump? It's like, the online lib reactions of, how cruel they were towards, yeah. How does it make you better than Donald
Two
Trump?
thumbs
if
up.
You're watching
yeah.
the video right now. Towards Arab Americans and Hispanic men. Hispanic men voting for Trump for one thing, but Arab Americans either abstaining, voting for Jill Stein, which even if you took all of the Jill Stein votes, put them to Kamala, she still loses.
I heard Jill Stein's like
So get out of
pro-Israel
that.
too, but that she came out with some statement.
No, that's the entire point.
No,
is
that
that
was just...
she's...
Well.
What? She was like...
She said Israel has a right to defend
beaten
itself.
At protests. Like, she's like literally been on the ground at pro-Palestine protests several times for a long time. It's her thing is that she's like a Russian plant, is what it's been for a long time, is the Jill Stein thing. She's like literally the only pro-Palestine one that was on most major ballots. A lot of these places you'd have to write in De La Cruz, which is another, anti-Israel, pro-Palestine thing. We had her on, we had the, PSL on our ballot. But anyway, but yeah, the way that, oh man, especially when I was mostly leaving Twitter, the way that some of these people would talk about Arab people in Michigan, disgusting. It's like, what is the purpose of that? Like, you can be upset about the election results, but what are your politics right now? What are your values? Like, what's the point of this? Like, you just, like that whole idea of like, well, good luck with that. I'll be happy to see you hauled away and tortured and deported back to fucking, Syria or whatever. It's like, the fuck?
It's like so do you think it's wrong
why do you
or
even,
not? Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you even anti-Trump? I don't get it. Like, I just don't understand. It's like because you feel like they didn't root hard enough for your team or something. It's like your team didn't support them. Your team sent Bill Clinton and Richie Torres over to their place to talk about how they were whining too much, even though their family was being murdered over in Gaza. Fuck you. Well, why should they vote for you? Because you tried to convince them that you were the lesser of two evils enough?
But
I
even
don't know,
then,
it just didn't work.
Regardless, you liberals, are you going to be better than like these MAGA fascist freaks? Or do you think that people who voted for Donald Trump deserve to be killed? Because I don't. I don't think that. It's like, if you think that, we definitely have an ideological difference. The problem is
let alone
leadership,
the people that abstained from voting for Kamala. Like, Jesus Christ.
I know. It's like, do you think that Trump voters should be locked up and in prison and all that kind of stuff? Because literally, your ideology is fascism then. You are saying punish the people that don't agree with me because I'm right. And you know what? That is the epitome of what people
Yeah,
fucking hate about
because
leftists too, is because you're some gatekeeping, know-it-all, condescending, purity testing asshole that will never win anyone to your side. And you are actually the reason
Natalie.
that people don't want to vote Democrat.
Yeah, exactly. Because on top of that, like, you don't even have the politics to back it up. Because you can't even be like you don't even have the solid like platform in politics to back up the like, but I'm right though. But I'm right. This would be better for you because your platform sucks. Because you don't even have the good politics. Because you're running on the fucking 2004 George W. Bush campaign. Because like you're ceding ground to the Trump campaign in the last 2 months of the election, leading up to the election. You can't even voice what you're going to do to help people. You can't. And then you're still saying, but you deserve to fucking burn in hell if you don't vote for us. It's like, what? Like, why? Not only is that disgusting, but also, what are you even offering here? What are you talking about? You still want to build a border wall and you're claiming like the moral superiority here? Both of those things?
That's what I get.
Like,
the right
what even sets you apart from Trump? The fact that a week before the election, when a bunch of people have already voted, Kamala says, oh, by the way, we should legalize weed. Cool. Wow. Good for you. Yeah, real moral superiority there. Very good. Yeah, let's just keep bombing half the world. And let's just keep making sure big business keeps booming. Let's hand wave and kind of make gestures towards price gouging without any actual real plan for it. Let's still not even broach the subject of like real stimulus towards lower paid people, let alone like, healthcare. Oh God, not even close to
the
like
most uniting issue there possibly could be across
change
all party lines. The thing that most Americans
for working
would
class people
totally get behind, and they have, and there's strong support for it. Every single one of us has been affected poorly by the healthcare system in some way. It's such a winning
something
message
that would truly help.
So they're like, nah,
working class and small businesses.
Oh my God,
and then big time, and But also, it's like, I mean, gosh, you'd have to be crazy not to vote for us.
Yeah.
Like, I'd look in the mirror, pal.
Thanks for your hard stance with your the left side of the Overton window. You really put up a fight there, by just walking towards the right several large steps instead of just at least holding strong the gains you've made. Yeah.
0 votes for it.
Yeah, nice.
Anyway,
we love
I don't even know how we went down this path again, relitigating the election.
Whatever.
But it's going to happen
so
over and over again because I'm going to keep waiting to see if they're going to learn any fucking lessons. Oh, it's because Seth Meyers, good old Sethy Mai, saying like, at least he's kind of on our side here. At least some people have brains that have a platform. John Stewart too. He definitely. For sure. Yeah, he said that in that piece. And who else? Oh, I love that it's been going around. Did I say it before we started recording? Or I don't know if I mentioned it at the beginning. Something about Theo Von. But that Stavros Halkias on Theo Von.
I watched that.
That piece has been going around. Masterclass in talking to a dumb MAGA person in terms of like steering a conversation around and just kind of
him being like, oh, that's a good point,
and being like, yeah, that's good. It really is. You know what? That's right. It's about the rich people fucking us over. That's right, the rich people, and that's why it's what it's always been. Steering you can always get these people with true populist arguments. That's why Bernie Sanders was so popular and still has popular ideas with people that end up on the right because it's so real. It's so true. Anyone who's listening or watching that hasn't seen that clip that's going around, it's great. Just look up Stavros Halkias,
I think
Theo Von.
Another thing you can get from that, Umberto and I were talking about that, about how purity testing leftists and stuff would not like the way Stavvy would approach this, and kind of like laughing about him talking about like rapists at the border and stuff like that. And it's like, you know how you get someone to like have a conversation that can end up with them saying, that's a really good point, I hadn't thought of it like that. Making them laugh, you know, by having their defenses down and like treating them like a person that you're like having a conversation with, and that you're not just talking down to and telling them that they're stupid. I can't even, how could you possibly say something like that? Like all these fucking leftists would
and
do.
And using their logic, going along with it, and working with them.
Yeah, he's like, well, by your logic, we should have abortions available because you're letting all these rapists in the country.
Yeah, exactly. Not to mention, we got some real heirloom homegrown rapists here. Which is funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I love Stavvy. He was such a man of the people in that. Love him. And Umberto was like, and he's just so cuddly. Hassan is very, 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 very smart, obviously, and he can be very calm and like explain things. But he is rough, and he's just like this huge, muscle-bound, very masculine guy that's like very intimidating. Stavvy is like, he looks like, I want to squeeze him, I want to cuddle up with him, I want to like, he's like, seems like a kind person, he's like round, and just like, I just want to like, he just seems so like approachable, and
he's
like,
almost a foot shorter than Hassan, which is nice.
He's and a foot wider. No, but I love him so much, and it was really like, he is someone who could change someone's mind like that, like Theo Von, like, and he's just such a good sense of humor about it, and like and a real care though too. He's like, my number one thing, you know, he's talking about how like abortion was the most important, like women's healthcare being the most important issue for him, voting on it, and like being like very sincere and not afraid of that, you know, and like saying it with his chest
and keeping it real with saying like, I didn't really like either one,
for sure,
which was a sentiment shared by so many people. But he's like, but of course, I'm not a Trump guy at all, and he never has been.
Never liked him.
And like, Majority Report, Emma Vigeland did a real great kind of breakdown of it. They were talking about how it was like a masterclass in talking to someone like that, and not, you know, stopping the conversation with like, geez, man, that's kind of racist, or, you know, just going along with it. That's how you can talk to people like this and actually have a conversation with someone. But also, it's funny, before that clip was making the rounds, even just the week before, the conversations on Twitter and Blue Sky, I kept seeing a couple times when the conversation was, gosh, the left needs a Joe Rogan. We need a leftist Joe Rogan. And one answer was always, yeah, we used to have one. His name was Joe Rogan, and we let him slip away. You know, Joe Rogan used to be a Bernie guy. COVID completely took him from us. And that kind of purity testing, gatekeeping stuff made it so that no one wanted to be associated with Joe Rogan. The right we ceded him to the right in a way too. And some of it's his. I mean, he's an adult, you know. He's kind of an idiot, and he let himself go down that path.
But community is important, and people need community. And when you feel like everyone's calling you some stupid, racist idiot, then it's hard to want to be around.
I'm saying, and he calls himself stupid. It's like, but you got to work with that, you know. It's like, he's an important guy. He's a huge podcaster. His show used to be so interesting, too. It's great. You know, Joe Rogan Experience was really popular for a reason. I mean, it is really popular for a reason still, but it's really...
Definitely for dudes.
It's frustrating now. But before that clip made the rounds, someone had said, too, they're like, whoa, we need a leftist Joe Rogan. It's like, you know what? We do. His name is Stavros Halkias. And I was like, that could be good. They're like, we need to be pumping his numbers up. And I was like, that could be true. He could be the next thing. And it's like, and I'm so happy that I've been on this train.
He's way funnier than Joe Rogan.
I love Stavvy. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a better comedian.
Way
for sure.
more entertaining. Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan has a Joe Rogan has a very checkered past in terms of being problematic. So does Stav. That's fine. You don't have to worry about this cancel culture stuff. Even if you're on the left, fuck it. You know? You can still be fine with it. Just don't worry about it. I don't care what he said on Cumtown. And honestly, on Cumtown, he's the least problematic out of any of them. I don't care if he's misogynistic, laughing at that stuff. It's not going to matter. Okay? I don't care. He's not Nick Mullen. It's okay. Just because Nick Mullen will never work in the entertainment industry ever again, it's okay. He doesn't have to be the left Joe Rogan.
Want to just keep losing then? If you don't.
But it's like he's got a Netflix special, which is great. He does a good little interview show on YouTube, which is great. He can sit down and talk to people. He's been on Joe Rogan, which went pretty well, I think. I think he was kind of nervous. It could have gone better, but he should start making the rounds. Like you said, he seems very approachable. He does a really good job of kind of just breaking things down and being like, yeah, you know what? Just, Bernie Sanders was right. It's a story as old as time. The rich people just keep fucking you.
Because you know what? Like, the difference is between him and Joe Rogan? Stavvy's not dumb. Stavvy's very smart. That's why he's such a good comedian.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan's an idiot. Like, he's genuinely, he's like one of those people. He has a lot of skills or whatever.
Yeah. Steroids and MMA don't make you any smarter.
One of them. He's just, not very good at thinking about things. Like, it's like, how can you, you really need these guests?
Which is okay.
Totally fine, for sure. But if you're going to be like a thought leader, it probably should be one of your best qualities. I think Stavvy, the way he puts things together, he might, he'll be brush things off. He's very self-deprecating. Of course, he's a comedian. But I think to be a good comedian, you have to be smart because or you at least have to be very observant and find
clever.
Hypocrisy and find these kinds of things that are incongruous, perhaps is a word that would maybe where you can
smart guy.
I know, where you can make a joke about that doesn't
stupid F-word bitch
doesn't really make sense there, and you have to think about those things to make them into jokes, and it kind of is I think that a lot about good comedians, that they're very smart. They notice a lot of things and they make me laugh about them. So, and all that being said, Stavvy doing it the right way. This is how you talk to people. You can't condescend. That being said, I did get that in that one argument with Mom's friends, and I said, fuck you to them. And I said,
no, patience is the other thing. It's not about how smart you are, what talking points you have, how good your policy proposal might be. There's that level of patience in talking, that conversationalist thing that was on display in that clip. That is wild. I wouldn't be able to do that. No way. No way.
No, he just has
the back of my head starts shaking.
Yeah.
When I get that upset with someone being bigoted or something like that. I'm like, bro, no, you don't know how badly I want to push you out of a window right now.
Yeah, Stavvy just has such a great sense of humor about everything. He's just has a really good sense of humor. He's incredibly good-natured person. He is. Yeah. He's a cherub. He's perfect. I'm in love with him.
He's a cherub. That's why he's the pussy-eating king. The pussy-eating king of Baltimore.
I would fuck his face so much.
Well, we'll go. We'll get tickets. Yeah. We'll go see him in February or whenever it is, in March or something. Anyway, wow, that went by, and I didn't even go over everything I wanted to. So we'll have stuff to talk about. Yeah, we didn't even hit record. Crap. Oh crap. But or talk about. Oh, did I tell you? I feel like I've been demoted to Lexa Amateur.
Let's end on that note.
Or I didn't even ask you about, would you rather hang out with Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk for a day? We'll talk about that some other time. It's a fun conversation.
Yeah.
But you know what? Even though
everybody's telling us to stop doing what we're trying to do,
we're going to keep on keeping on. And with that, I'll say,
bitches leave.
Shout out to R.M. Brown.
Our Lord and
Shout
Savior.
out to everybody.
Everybody.
Shout out to Danae.
Oh,
we'll have you come back on for a post-holiday thing. Talk about family get-togethers if you want.
She sent me a thing that said the thing you have to understand is that when a white person asks you to be on their podcast, that's a huge sign of respect in their culture.
It's true. This is true. Yeah. It's it's a symbolic what is it? It's ritualistic, really.
Yeah, like people say, like you're invited to the barbecue, or like
the cookout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cookout.
Yeah, it's the cookout because and with white people it's like it's one person in a room at a time in different places.
Like
and there's no food involved.
Yeah.
And there's always technical difficulties and shit. Oh, you're muted, by the way.
Edited.
No. Okay, anyway.
Bitches leave.
I love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.